What if Eve had not eaten the fruit? What would our life be like today? Have you ever stopped to think about that? Would we die someday? Would there be pain in childbirth? Would God walk with us on earth like someone strolling at sunset? Would Jesus exist as Redeemer? Now imagine almost impossible things. Cemeteries becoming picnic parks, hospitals becoming discovery laboratories, not emergency rooms, locks becoming sculptures because nothing gets stolen, contracts without fine print, social networks without needing to filter hate, sirens retired, births like sunrise without screaming, work that ends the day with joy, not with exhaustion. They seem like exaggerated images, but they help measure what cannot even be said. But before imagining what it would be like today, we need to remember who she was and what broke when trust ended. Because without understanding the beginning, any comparison becomes noise. When the origin appears, the story gains the strength of truth. Eve appears as the perfect partner, formed from Adam's side, with the same image of God and the same dignity. The garden was a place of abundance, purpose and beauty, work with meaning, rest with peace, God nearby without mess. The mission was twofold and clear: care for the good and protect the fragile, make it grow with responsibility. Great freedom, small limit, not eating from one tree. It wasn't caprice, it was an agreement, drawing a fence so that life wouldn't break. The limit was like a rail that lets the train run without derailing. The tree of life showed continuity. The other reminded that knowing is not stealing, it's trusting. Everything worked while trust guided desires, holding back dangerous impulses. When desire forgot the source, abundance went out of tune. The rhythm broke, and joy disappeared into noise too empty to bear. The original scenario breathed calm and closeness. God's presence was home, not a visit. Conversations flowed without masks. Work served without hurting. Being honest healed without shaming. Being naked caused no shame. Friendship didn't turn into competition. Promises didn't need oaths. Time flowed like a river that waters, not like lightning that hurts and leaves. The rhythm balanced, creating, thinking, caring and resting, returning breath for tasks. There was laughter without irony and curiosity without guilt, because everything was a gift received with gratitude. The earth responded like a loyal friend, helping patient hands to work. The heart learned without comparing and gave without calculating, free from foolish fights. Before the noise, life had music. Before the rush, life had firm steps. Before fear, life had an embrace that established trust. In simplicity, today was enough, and tomorrow didn't frighten anyone anymore. Myths cloud the reading and destroy the lesson that could heal. It was an apple. The Bible doesn't say which fruit it was, nor does it need to. The blame is all Eve's. Adam also participated, stayed silent, accused. The blame belongs to both. God was afraid of our knowledge. The test was trust, not fear of human knowledge. Sex became sin. The union was a blessing before the fall. Shame only came afterward. Caricatures make everything easy to repeat and useless to change because they remove important layers. Without layers, we lose context. Without context, we lose wisdom. Cleaning the lenses means returning weight to words, strength to symbols, direction to lost desire. The story is not an old meme, it's a living mirror of what we are. Those who read in a hurry stumble on the essential. Those who read with humility find ancient paths to live today. And by living, they confirm the truth hidden beneath noises and bright yet empty shortcuts. The temptation didn't arrive shouting, it arrived telling a different story that seemed to make sense. It exaggerated the limit, distorted the intention, painted God as someone who prevents our growth. It promised freedom without bonds, quick gain without process, light without true warmth. It exchanged trust for calculation and gratitude for nervous ambition, refining the disguised prison. The fall began before the bite, when God's goodness became comfortable suspicion in the heart. Inside we negotiated. Outside we only confirmed the agreement we had already signed with fear. The gaze evaluated, desire grew, the hand took, the mouth ate, the act circulated between them. The promised light revealed without healing, exposing the soul like a cold store window. Where memory of the source was lacking, noise of empty appearance remained, and appearance doesn't bear the weight of the heart, nor sustains long life. It shines beautifully at first, but goes out soon, leaving ashes, silence, loneliness, and then charges impossible interest to pay. Then came the harsh shock, shame that burns, fig leaves hastily sown, improvised hiding places. The voice that once called with love now seems like a threat. Familiar steps sound like an alarm in the chest. Questions reveal cracks. Excuses become short patches on cloth torn too much. Accusation becomes a defensive sport. Responsibility shrinks, looking for someone to carry all the weight. Intimacy bends in heavy silence. Presence is felt as urgent, painful absence. Nothing fits like before. Hands tremble, chest feels heavy, vision blurs with fear. Yesterday's gesture insists on unfolding today, charging overdue interest that doesn't stop. Without trust, symbols rot. Without truth, masks create bubbles that burst on tired faces. What remains is fear of being seen, of being known, of being truly loved. The heart runs but doesn't arrive. It tires but never rests. Noise remains inside. Air is lacking. Firm ground is lacking. Clear direction is lacking to be able to continue walking. 4 relationships split in half, and the whole world creaks under the weight. With God, fear replaces joy. Distance replaces encounter. Distrust replaces sincere worship. With oneself, guilt takes the place of peace. Masks replace identity. Anxiety replaces deserved rest. With others, using takes the place of caring. Dispute kills partnership. Comparison poisons pure friendship. With creation, thorns exchange places with flowers. Sweat takes over song. The earth resists work. Work becomes a heavy burden. Time becomes a rushed boss. The body becomes a constant battlefield. Words lose music and ugly noises remain. Promises lose honor and cold contracts remain. The heart spends energy maintaining appearances, impoverishing what should flourish with life, and death enters vocabulary as an ungrateful definitive rupture. Still, a thread of mercy remains lit, discreet, insistent, strong. It suggests a possible return, though delayed, patient, true, tender, firm, still alive and present. Justice and mercy meet in the same act, contradicting old and tired cynicism. There is an exit from the garden, but there are clothes given to cover what leaves don't cover properly. The path to the tree of life is guarded, not out of cruelty, but out of deep compassion. Preventing eternity for the broken is also true love. Exile is hard, but it's not abandonment. It's discipline with a firm promise of return. The word that judges doesn't end the story. It opens a thread of hope crossing entire generations. Evil will not remain without a definitive answer, even if the answer seems to take too long. Mercy cares before demanding, heals before sending, comforts before teaching hard truths. Pain becomes a reminder of direction, not a doctrine of hopeless despair. The desert remains a crossing, not a final dwelling where we remain trapped, and the flame of promise continues burning, small, faithful, stubborn, blown by ancient hope that never gives up on us. From the judgment a promise is born that crosses deserts, families, and entire empires. A descendant will defeat the serpent and heal the devastating rupture. Exile protects the world from eternalizing the fracture. Clothes remind of care in the midst of loss. Cherubim guard the tree of life as mercy with a sword. Not perpetuating the broken is a sign of careful love. The story continues in active waiting, stitching signs, altars, covenants, songs, cries. Prophets point direction, wise men ask for prudence, mothers keep whispers in their children's laps. Hope learns to live with militant, firm, humble, constant patience. It's not empty religious distraction. It's a compass for crossing nights without dangerous shortcuts. When memories weigh too much, promises sustain. When thorns wound, companionship firmly comforts. When guilt shouts loudly, grace responds with a new, liberating name. So we continue between dust and light, fed by a future that calls and remains with us ahead, always. Let's imagine daily life without the fall. Death would not have the last word, because life would always remain whole. Births would be intensity without wound, work, joy without exhaustion, rest, trust without heavy guilt. God would walk with us as an evening routine, simple conversation that returns tired breath. Justice would be spontaneous, generosity would be the norm, power would be service to others. The limit would exist as a friendly rail, never as a hostile wall that distances. Time would fit, enough would suffice. The table would gather everyone without rush. The eye would not compare, the heart would not hide, the hand would not take what is not yours. The city would breathe like a living garden, retired sirens, doors without locks, contracts without hidden fine print. We would laugh without fear of losing. We would work without hurting anyone. We would celebrate without proving anything to anyone. And when night came, it would be a candle and not an abyss, reminding that living is true communion, not a solitary race. To calibrate imagination, let's stack impossibilities that make sense in this better world. Prisons become music schools and true reconciliation centers. ICUs convert into prevention laboratories and comprehensive care for all. Sirens become museum pieces, locks become sculptures, antiviruses get curious historical displays, borders transform into bridges, customs into cultural fairs, walls into colorful vertical gardens. Social networks display good disagreements, without massacres, without public humiliations. Economy measures value also by justice, service, and care for the planet. Science serves without vanity. Art heals without empty spectacle. Faith welcomes without forcing anyone. Schools teach wisdom along with numbers. Squares become rooms for true encounter. Contracts fit on one page without hidden invisible letters. Buses arrive on time and drivers always smile. Police mediate conflicts, judges rest more peacefully. And the word enemy retires for lack of use, giving way to neighbor, partner, brother, pilgrim, guest who participates without fear. Translating ancient symbols to now, fig leaves become filters, facades, inflated resumes, impeccable empty speeches. Digital masks cover tired hearts. Automatic messages replace conversations that ask for present body. Thorns become inhuman bureaucracies, goals that devour sleep, deadlines that suffocate living soul. Thistles become systems that treat people as disposable resources, numbers without human face. The serpent's voice gains Wi-Fi, preferential algorithm, easy shine, spread viral half-truth. Promises of autonomy without bonds sound modern, but slowly, silently isolate. Rush becomes rewarded addiction, exhaustion, social medal, comparison, always relentless ruler. The body charges the bill with anxiety, insomnia, growing apathy. The spirit chokes on smoke of false shine. Healing begins when we remove leaves, return names to wounds, ask for help, confess, reorder rhythms. Reopen the table, prioritize presence over appearance, truth over showcase, bonds over reach, people over projects, mercy over empty merit. In the story we have, Jesus comes to undo the works of evil, reconnect bonds, open a path where walls have grown high. Without the fall, there would be no cross, not for lack of love, for lack of real necessity. Some imagine incarnation through pure communion, beautiful hypothesis without revealed script in the Bible. The essential is clear. There is a real wound asking for true healing, not superficial. The answer assumes the cost, carries the guilt, defeats death, inaugurates new possible life. The lost garden becomes a possible destination, now reopened through the road of the bloody tree. Resurrection is not an empty motivational metaphor. It's the beginning of a true new world. Disciples learn simple steps: listen, serve, forgive, share, wait with patience. Communion becomes home, hope, habit, faith, natural breathing. And the promised presence accompanies in the urban desert until the promised city descends from heaven. Meanwhile, signs sprout at open tables, just works, faithful friendships, stubborn small renunciations that rehearse new mornings without old shadows. How to live echoes of Eden in the urban desert that surrounds us. Exchange appearance for truth in love. Confess without promoting yourself. Repair when always possible. Care before controlling. Serve before appearing. Learn before opining about everything. Work with excellence without exploiting anyone. Rest as an act of faith, not as a conquered guilty prize. Reconcile with whoever is safe and necessary. Say no to lucrative shortcuts. Cultivate silence that heals devastating internal noises. Open the table for real bonds. Pray simply. Walk slowly. Look people in the eyes. Practice weekly rest, healthy limits, free kindnesses. Relearn to listen to others' stories with patience. Choose fewer screens and more real people. Sustain small promises for a long, constant time. Make daily life a discreet altar where presence is always remembered, where rush shouts, respond with firm steps, deep breaths, sincere, honest gratitudes. Humble constancy creates ground where hearts rest, safe, light, sustained, together without fear. Micro-fidelities defeat small betrayals in the silent long term. Tell the truth when lies earn easy likes and applause. Deliver what was agreed without reminders, even when no one is watching anything. Close the cell phone to open space for the person present here. Forgive before resentment rents a permanent room in the house. Be generous when calculation asks for economy and closure. Ask for help before pride becomes complete shipwreck. Quickly recognize mistakes, repair damages, sincerely rejoice in others' growth. Turn off cell phone at the dinner table. Sleep with honor, wake up with clear, firm purpose. Plant constancy in land of crazy rush. Water commitments with daily patience. Read good books, listen to good songs, cultivate good deep conversations. Choose words that heal wounds. Celebrate small miracles. Bread, hug, work, rest. Practice specific gratitude daily with sincerity. When you fall, get up with humility and continue firmly. These discreet seeds change tides, dislodge cynicisms, and make paths flourish, where tired hearts discover true new rest. Healthy communities require invisible columns that hold heavy roofs without falling. Governance that is accountable without theater, with simplicity, clarity, and true courage, sufficient transparency to reduce rumors and protect vulnerable with care. Real spaces for the responsible no and the friendly alert, without unjust punishment. Culture that celebrates those who break risks, not just those who accelerate imprudent goals. Symbols that serve the covenant, not that replace it with superficial veneer. Metrics as good servants, never as masters of the greater purpose. Rhythms that protect the essential when success seduces dangerously. Walls with windows, open doors, larger tables that welcome everyone. Purpose that guides budget, not the distorted opposite. Processes that favor true reconciliation. Compassionate discipline that restores, doesn't cancel people. Memories that preserve learnings without cultivating old bitterness. Living pacts that remind why we started together. Multiplied, not concentrated leaderships in few. And above all, truth practiced in daily life so that trust flourishes slowly, consistent, stable, durable, beautiful, right here, now. There is an interior ecology that sustains everything from within, discreet and always decisive. Identity anchored in grace, not in constant exhausting performance. Intimacy safe enough to dispense masks and choose wise, courageous vulnerability. Vocation that serves without burning in consuming vanity bonfires. Spirituality that inhabits presence, not just consumes passing remarkable experiences. Discipline as the adult form of freedom, guarding desires, ordering steps with wisdom. Silence practiced as hygiene of the soul, breathed prayer as vital breath. Readings that elevate, friendships that confront with affection, works that contribute to good. Grateful memory, purified imagination, trained will with constancy, body cared for with rest and clear limits, hunger for justice without destructive hatred, patience with the slow process, courage to be small without shame, gratitude as daily practiced school. When no one sees, always choose the right. When applause echoes, remember the true source. When failing, humbly restart without giving up. Thus the heart learns stability that crosses storms without losing gentle and firm direction. returning to the questions that opened the door. Would we die? Not as inevitable rupture. Rupture entered with the breaking of trust. Would we have pain? Pain multiplied afterward, before intensity didn't hurt anyone. Would God walk with us? Yes, closeness was the climate of the garden and continues to be a firm promise. Would Jesus exist as Redeemer because the world really broke? Without fall, there would be no bloody cross. If the fall happened, there is healing and possible open road. The invitation is to trust again, step after step, truth after truth, constant repair after repair. The path is narrow, but it is good, true, beautiful, sustainable. And companionship changes everything when the night seems too long to endure. Light returns, sometimes small, but enough to continue walking. Joy matures, hope learns rhythm, and faith becomes strong daily muscle that sustains choices, protects bonds, strengthens steps under storms and drier and harder deserts. None of this is written on a sign if it doesn't enter deep in the chest. The lost garden becomes a path when we choose whom to listen to with attention. Between the voice of the shortcut and the steps of the friend, we daily decide with freedom. With each small yes to truth, the desert loses sand and gains life. New beginnings ask for repair, restitution, patience, healthy new habits that heal. New beginnings rekindle embers, return ground to steps, lighten memories too heavy. Let's keep what ignites, practice what protects, deliver what blesses other lives. Trust is compass, truth, shelter, limit, care, covenant, safe rail. Freedom is not eating everything, it's walking together with the one who first planted the garden. With him, even dust seems like budding flower. When presence becomes home again, fear loses microphone and audience. When hope becomes habit, cynicism loses tired audience. When love becomes verb again, the city begins inside the heart and continues flourishing in simple, constant, courageous, true, faithful steps until the end of the journey. If this story touched you, don't let it stop here. Share with someone who needs to remember that there is a way back, that trust can be rebuilt, that the garden still calls. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss the next stories that will change your perspective on faith, life, and hope. Comment below, which part of Eve's story impacted you most? What do you choose to do differently starting today? Let's build this community together where truth liberates, love restores, and each small step counts. See you in the next video. Until then, may you walk firmly, rest well, and remember, you are not alone on this journey. The presence that walked in the garden still walks with you today.